From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Sulaiman Aleda.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, presidency dismisses claims that Boko Haram is better armed than the Nigerian army. Insists the armed forces is capable of bringing the insurgents to their knees. Canada promises to assist Nigeria in battling insurgency in the northeast. Senate clears 11 out of the 12 ministerial nominees sent to it by the president. And in Thailand, protesters and police clash, leaving 4 people dead.
On Business News tonight, the NNPC explains reasons behind kerosene scarcity, encourages Nigerians to switch to cooking gas.
While on sports news, World Football governing body FIFA stands by its decision to stage some games of the Brazil 2014 World Cup in Cuba.
Well, the federal government has given the assurance that it is winning the war against Boko Haram and other forms of insurgency in the country. This is coming on the heels of the assertion by the governor of Borno State, Kashim Shettima, that insurgents are better armed and may prove difficult to defeat by the military. But addressing a news conference in Abuja, the senior special assistant to the president on public affairs, Dr. Doyin Okupe, said the morale of the troops engaged in the fight against terrorism is high and ought not to be dampened by unsavory and verified comments.
The orchestration of mayhem by the insurgents is the result of their dislodgement from their strongholds and hideouts in the mountainous forest areas of Borno State. In recent times, these areas have been heavily bombed aerially by the Nigerian Air Force and combed systematically by the ground troops. If the insurgents have not been completely routed, it is due to the fact that our armed forces are severely constrained because of the fact that civilian settlements are also co-located in these vicinities, making selective engagement of the insurgents tenuous and difficult if heavy civilian casualties are to be avoided. We believe strongly that the statement made by Borno State Governor Alhaji Kashim Shettima that the insurgents are better armed than our military is based purely on a civilian perspective of the situation at hand. It is clear and unarguable that Governor Shettima does not have the necessary expertise to categorize or classify the effectiveness of any weapon. We want to enjoin all our national leaders and stakeholders across political and religious divides to close ranks and cooperate with the federal government and our valiant troops who are defending our territorial integrity and support the federal government to root out this scourging menace of insurgency rather than speaking at cross purposes. We want to reassure Nigerians and members of the international community that though it is in the character of insurgents to create maximum fear because they seek publicity, their sporadic attacks on soft targets is being contained and will be halted.
The reports say 5 persons have been killed in Jero area of Jos South local government area of Northern Plateau. The State Public Relations Officer, Felicia Anselm, confirmed that some people were indeed killed by unidentified gunmen as they were returning from the market. 12 of the victims from the Beram clan, while the other 3 are said to be Irigwe speaking in Bassa in Plateau State. It was guarded that the people have been buried because their bodies were mutilated. The Canadian High Commission in Nigeria believes the international community should not relent in its fight against terrorism, even if it is localized in some parts of the world. The joint effort, according to the High Commissioner, Mr. Perry Calderwood, would provide a multifaceted approach so that insurgency never gets the upper hand to rubbish any country's image. Mr. Calderwood told our Foreign Affairs correspondent Amarachi Bani that Canada has supported Nigeria in this regard and will continue to do so.
Canada believes that the international community has to work together to combat terrorism. It's not a unique phenomenon to Nigeria. Many countries have been affected. Canadians have been victims to terrorist attacks. We've identified ways that we can support Nigeria. We provided some training in terms of terrorist prevention techniques, investigation techniques to the security services of Nigeria. Canada also listed Boko Haram as a terrorist organization in December, which means that according to Canadian law, that facilitates and gives greater power to our law enforcement agencies to pursue people in Canada who might be associated with Boko Haram, including funding or financing activities. And we're in dialogue with the Nigerian government to identify other ways that we can be supportive. So we see this as a global effort to work together to combat terrorism. And of course, I think the challenge on all countries affected by terrorism is also to find ways to address the root causes, whatever they may be, and often they're very complex, that provide sometimes a fertile ground for the recruitment of terrorists.
The Senate has confirmed 11 out of the 12 ministerial nominees centered by the President. Those confirmed are former National Security Advisor, retired General Mohammed Gusau from Zamfara State, former Adamawa Governor Boni Haruna, Senator Musiliu Obaniko from Lagos, Ambassador Aminu Wali from Kano. Other nominees who scaled through the Senate hurdle are Mrs. Laurentia Laraba, Madam from Kaduna, Mrs. Akon Etim from Akwa Ibom, and Mohammed Wakil from Borno. Others are Mr. Abdul Jalil Yawari Adesion from Oshun, Mrs. Asabe Ahmed from Niger, Dr. Khalil Al-Hassan from Sokoto, and Dr. Danagogo from Rivers. The Senate, however, did not confirm Hajia Jamila Salik from Kano State, who was absent at a screening exercise today. The Senate President, David Mack, told the ministers in waiting that they are expected to add value to the art of governance when they come on board, adding that their nomination will amount to nothing if they see themselves as masters and not servants of the people. The President has appointed Brigadier General Jones Oladende Arogbofa as his new Chief of Staff. Brigadier General Arogbofa, a retired officer of the Signals Corps of the Nigerian Army, takes over from Mr. Mike Oladume, who resigned last week, according to a statement by the President's Special Advisor on Media, Dr. Ruben Abati. The new Chief of Staff to the President was born on November the 10th, 1952. He hails from the Akoko Southwest local government area of Ondo State. The statement adds that Brigadier General Arogbofa brings an impressive array of academic qualifications to his new job, including a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering and a Master's degree in Military Arts and Science from the United States Command and General Staff College, Fort Leavenworth. Brigadier General Arogbofa has taken up his new post at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Emeka Ihedioha, today asked the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) to disclose the source of funding kerosene subsidy. The Deputy Speaker made this demand today in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, during the House hearing on the supply and distribution of kerosene in the country.
It was a fully packed hearing room. Officials of the different agencies connected with distribution and supply of kerosene were before the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Downstream. The Deputy Speaker, who declared the event open, said the situation where a lot of people were not benefiting from the subsidy on kerosene, despite the amount being spent on it, was unjustifiable.
The scarcity of kerosene has become another proof that as a nation, we simply need to get our acts together. It is important to note that the country has spent at least 1 trillion naira over the past 4 years from our records to subsidize kerosene. Yet, the product is neither available nor is it sold at the official NNPC pump price whenever it is found and wherever.
The chairman of the committee outlined some of the committee's mandate.
A. To establish the actual amount spent on kerosene subsidy from 2010 to December 2013. B. To establish the source of the money used in financing kerosene subsidy and the relevant budgetary approval.
It was then time to get answers from officials of government agencies that were present at the hearing.
Well, the issue of the budget, I have the question on the issue of the budget.
Yes.
And the second one is the subsidy of kerosene. The numbers. Yeah, we have the numbers, but I must say that I do not have the exact numbers here. And since I'm on board, I just want to be careful that I will not hold myself out of court.
He was, however, clear on how the challenges in the sector can be addressed.
We'll also monitor, like we said earlier, if we can also monitor our borders and ensure that this kerosene is not smuggled out, then of course it's going to improve substantially. Well, another one which is not really palatable is the removal of the subsidy, which will make it very, very attractive to be diverted.
The sitting is to continue on Wednesday when the committee is expected to hear from other agencies. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
In part 2 after the break, Nigerian women seek high representation at the forthcoming national conference. That's coming up in a moment. Please stay with us.